Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's announcement live stream. Jess and I are here from the ESO community team to help guide you through some big changes coming to ESO, and we are looking forward to sharing those plans with you right now. We mentioned this last year, but we are officially shifting away from chapters and DLCs to make content a lot more accessible through seasons. As part of this, we're going to talk through the vision of what seasons are, how it delivers varied and sometimes experimental content, and how we plan to co-create this new era of ESO with all of you. During the stream, we'll show you a roadmap of 2026 and give a glimpse of other long-term initiatives that we're working on. And we'll also share details about Season 0 and reveal 2 brand new in-game features that are going to allow you to earn all sorts of in-game rewards.
Today, you're also going to hear about how we've refocused our internal teams here at SOS to deliver changes for all of you. We're identifying pain points, prioritizing most requested features, and even auditing combat, just to name a few things. The journey begins in our next update and will continue long into the future. Throughout today's stream, we'll also share with you how we're going to continue to level up our dialogue with you, including some specific follow-ups, such as watch for a survey link in chat at the end of this stream to share your thoughts with us about everything you'll hear about today.
So TLDR, we are going to be communicating a lot today, but have no fear, we will have plenty of deep dives and blogs and additional live streams to talk through everything in a lot more detail over the next few months. Also, a lot of what we are talking about today will be available on our test server next week.
So we recommend everyone get comfy. We have a lot to cover today, and we're going to get things kicked off by introducing our special guests from the dev team. We have Nick Giacomini, Game Director for ESO, and Susan Kath, Executive Producer for ESO. We formally introduced both in their current roles last year, and you might have seen them around in live streams, videos, and interviews since then. Both are longtime ESO fans and seasoned game devs. So welcome both.
Thank you. Very excited to be here.
Yes, agreed. Very excited to be here. And I want to bring up one last thing before we get started, which is that, as Jess said, we have a lot to get through today. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about is transparency in our feedback loop and telling you guys things that we maybe haven't historically always told you. And one of those things that I'm going to talk to you about is the fact that we currently have about 47,000 cameras on us to do all of this. And Jess and Gina have a big old stack of notes.
We have about 5,000 pages of notes here.
So much to tell you about today. And Nick and I have monitors in front of us to remind us of all of the things that we need to tell you today. So all of that is to say that if it sometimes looks like we are reading things, that's because we have so much stuff we have to remember that we probably are.
And we want to get it right.
Transparency, yes, and we want to get it all right. So thanks for having us.
We want to make sure we don't forget anything, especially the really exciting stuff, right? All right, so before we reveal what is to come, we feel like it's important to just briefly talk about how the past has informed the future. So Nick, we'll start things off with you. Let's talk a little bit about ESO up until this point. What have we learned over the years with subscriptions and chapters and what have you, and how are we looking to evolve?
Yeah, absolutely. ESO, we're coming up on 12 years in just a few months, which is pretty crazy. It's pretty wild. And when I look back at ESO's history, it's full of a lot of resilience and transformation. And, over those 12 years, we made a lot of innovative decisions when we needed to, like one Tamriel, Homestead, introduction of chapters, and so on, right? They were the right decisions at the time for building the game's foundation. And they show that we're capable of making big fundamental changes when we need to. And this is another one of those moments. The game, we've heard that from you, our players, that the game has become more predictable than we'd like and too formulaic. And frankly, we think that we can make the game more rewarding and exciting.
And change things up.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And part of that is because the chapter model was limiting. It took 18 months, longer than that, in order to do. It was all hands on deck to support. And that intensity and lead time just didn't really leave that much room to react to player feedback, address longstanding issues. So, we saw this past year as a transition year. And while we learned a lot, we knew that we needed greater change. So we're going to be doing more. this year. Like you said, we want to create ESO with the community. It's something that players have been asking us to do for a really long time, right? To pause and work on addressing pain points and building the future of ESO together. This is the beginning of a major shift, just like One Tamriel was a decade ago, where we're going to be making major changes just in a completely different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when we were talking internally about the future of ESO, one of the founding pillars of conversations was that of player trust and something internally we were calling the dev community feedback loop. So we know that we've always incorporated player feedback in the dev process, but we know that we could have greater transparency and just be better about following up with the community. Like Nick was saying, the chapter model that we had been following for the past few years, the whole timeline was like this speeding train that we couldn't really stop. And it really did restrict our ability to just be more flexible. But I think with seasons, that's really going to introduce an opportunity to allow us to listen and react a lot more to community feedback in a much better way. So what does this look like for all of you? It means earlier visibility into the things that we're working on. It means engaging with you earlier in the process and sharing the results of your input on dev efforts, all of which we know that you've been asking for a really long time.
Exactly. So with seasons, every team at ZOS, including leadership, like Susan and Nick, consider player engagement and trust to be the foundation upon which ESO's future is built. You'll see this in different forms as we evolve our approach and explore what works best for us and for you. It may take shape in the way of earlier and more frequent first look and community Q&A live streams, articles and video content, or early polls, Reddit AMAs, or feedback and preference surveys. We recognize that actions do speak louder than words, though, and we've already begun laying the groundwork for some of the dev community feedback loop efforts with things like the Guild Summit we held early last year, which informed some of the efforts you're going to hear about today.
Yep.
And the long-term class identity, vision, goals, and roadmap we shared last December. We'll continue to expand and evolve based on your feedback. So later in the show, you'll also hear more about our community collaboration and next steps as we develop ESO together. All of this resulted in the big changes we're going to be talking about and sharing with all of you today. So Nick and Susan, let's hop right into what's coming to ESO.
Absolutely. Well, we're happy to welcome you to our new content model, Seasons. With Seasons, updates and content will still arrive quarterly, but we're moving away from that predictable, templated release cadence that players are familiar with, that featured zone, dungeons, and so on. We're still going to be telling incredible stories and exploring new areas of Tamriel and beyond. But the delivery will be different. Each season may look completely different. This will give us the flexibility to make our game more exciting and invest in addressing longstanding pain points, right? Add features and improvements players have been asking for, and update and iterate on the core game rather than always just chasing something brand new. Key difference is variety and choice. We want to be building what's important to you, players, and we believe that this new model is the best way to do so.
So speaking of big changes, now is a good point for us to talk about one of the first big changes that we're going to be introducing. We've always charged for most of the new content and features because they were part of the whole chapter model. You got the chapter every year. We felt like ultimately that this created barriers to play where, depending on whether you owned a chapter or not, depending on whether you could play with your friends or not, and with so many versions and DLCs on sale at any given time, it could actually get pretty confusing to try and sort out what you needed to buy to play with your friends.
Yep, one of the biggest questions we always got.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to change that. Starting with Season 0, all new content and features are all going to be available for free for anyone who owns ESO or who plays via Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, this is a really exciting change. So it's going to include if we do any new zones or any new stories or new systems that we release.
Exactly. To be specific, there will still be some paid content, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later. But in general, the things that were rolled out as part of chapters, those will just be game updates from now on. And speaking of game updates, this is also probably a good time to point out that as part of all of this, with update 49 in March, we are going to go ahead and roll the Thieves Guild, the Dark Brotherhood, and Arsinium into that main game as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is a huge change for ESO. And I really love that we're not just making all the new content available to everybody, but to your point, it's just going to be so much simpler for players to understand what to buy to. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the team's vision for how seasons are going to work in ESO. Susan, what would you say makes up a typical season?
Well, for starters, I kind of hope we don't actually have typical seasons. That's kind of the point of all of this.
Touché.
So the seasons themselves can actually be anything we want them to be in terms of content. But experimentation, variety, you're going to hear those words a lot today. Trying new things. These are the touchstones that we are building seasons on. We're still going to be the Elder Scrolls Online. We'll mix in new systems, features, stories, zones, all of those things that everyone knows and loves about ESO. But we want to look at them through a new lens and ask ourselves about everything. Okay, but like, what if? Right? So stuff like, what if there were dragons here? Or what if you could do this content solo instead of with a group? Or what if you did this content with a group? What's up in Winterhold? So all of that said, seasons are going to happen 4 times a year. They will be 3 months long. And each one is going to contain a Tamriel tome and access to the Gold Coast Bazaar. And one last big change as part of this, and absolutely one of those things that we said, okay, but what if about when we launch update 49 in March, we are going to move to a simultaneous release schedule with PC and consoles now releasing on the same day, their patches, their updates, all of that going forward.
That's really cool. And I think that really kind of mirrors what exactly we're trying to do here this year with, taking a look at things that we've always done just because we've always done it that way and identifying areas where we can change things up and make things better for the community.
Yeah, actually based on player requests.
Yes.
That okay, but what if? That is actually exactly how we came around to doing the simultaneous releases. We had a few people in the team go, okay, well, actually, can we?
What if we can we just do this?
Let's do it.
Love it.
So, all of that said, Nick, you want to talk about the roadmap?
I do, yes. Very exciting.
I've been waiting.
I have I've been waiting. And yeah, exactly. We want to, I think what if is a good way to, is a really good way to put it. We want to walk away from too predictable and instead be exciting, different. Something that players also have been asking us a lot for is more transparency, more visibility into what's coming. In the past, we've held a lot back, like until the last minute, but we're trying to be more transparent and we'll try to provide players with an idea of what to expect, what we're thinking. Just know that this is, it's a living plan, right? And things may change, and we want that. That's part of this. We don't want to be beholden to an 18-month roadmap that we can't adjust. We want to be able to change based on feedback and what we learn. So let's talk a little bit about what's coming to Tamriel in 2026. There's a lot on this roadmap, and I'm going to list these off quickly, but we're going to go into more of these later, either in the stream or in upcoming announcements. So in Season 0, players can experience the first ever event zone, the night market, and that's going to be, it's going to be a lot more challenging than our usual content. We're also going to be launching a whole suite of changes to improve visuals for class and weapon abilities and start to provide better class identity and make more builds viable. We'll have brand new Thieves Guild content coming later this year. So, the next Thieves Guild story in the game. There will be new stories, some new systems to experience the content with, like the Vault, rumors, favors, and dynamic events. Sheogorath is returning to Tamriel. I'm personally very excited for players to experience this story. Let's see, there will be a new trial for our endgame community. And for players who prefer to take the game on solo, we have a few things coming. First, we're planning to launch an early version of Overland difficulty. There's a lot that we want to do here. So this is just a first step for this highly requested feature. But again, just like we were talking about earlier, this is something we want to get to players soon and adjust based on feedback and do more with it in the future. So, and we're also introducing solo dungeons later in the year, where players will get to take on some of our existing dungeons and new solo modes with dedicated rewards. Like Overland difficulty, we're planning to start small here, so maybe 2 or 3 dungeons to begin with. And we want to see what players think and if they want more.
That's awesome. It seems like a really good way to learn dungeons.
Yes, exactly. Like, in fact, we're planning to have, things are currently in development, so it may change, but we're planning to have multiple modes, including a story mode.
Oh, cool.
So that's something that, I personally experience. I know that our players have experienced where they just want to do the quest, but groups will just run ahead
and enjoy the story.
Right, exactly. And also other modes for, more of players who want more of a challenge. So we want to have like different levels of difficulty for solo.
That's exciting.
I'm super excited about this because I'm a solo player. I love playing MMOs. I like a lot of other people being around me playing, but I like to play by myself.
Yep.
And so I'm really excited for all of those changes.
Yes, very excited too. That's going to be coming in 2026. And if players like it, then, more to come. Let's see what else. We're doing some experimental content. So like there's some that's, it's involving seas and ships and naval battles. Pirates, yep. We're trying things out and still figuring it out, but the team has the space to run with their best ideas here, and that's something that we want. Let's see, we're investing pretty heavily in PvP this year, and we're providing many player experience improvements and addressing a lot of pain points that players have expressed. Both of these, what we're going to do here for PvP and for addressing these, we're going to talk more in a bit. So as mentioned earlier, like this new approach is going to hopefully allow us to work hand in hand with our desire to craft ESO's future with and for the community. We want to hear your thoughts and feedback early and often to help us build the Tamriel that you want to experience.
What's also really cool about this new way of allowing the dev team to kind of experiment a little bit more is they'll participate in game jams, maybe once a year or so. And I think having them have the opportunity to potentially put some of these really kind of creative and unique ideas into the game is going to be really exciting for players.
Yes, and actually that's happening. I'm not ready to talk about it.
Oh, come on, Nick. Just between us.
But that's happening. There we are actually releasing things that came out of the game jam that were purely like passion projects from the people here at ZOS, and we're putting them in the game. And I think there's going to be a lot more of that.
Oh, that's so exciting! I've seen some of them, and I wonder which ones they are. That's exciting.
I have a pretty good idea.
All right. So as we look to the future, we want to share what we're working on with you, like we have said much earlier and more often than we have in the past. And hopefully everything we're going through right now is a testament to that. And in turn, we want to get your feedback earlier and more often as well. So this means we may share things with you that range anywhere from the early conceptual phase to actively in development, things that are not yet set in stone. This content could be experimental, like we've mentioned, or something we're actively developing and need live feedback on. So this is a big pivot for us. And while it won't happen overnight, you'll see it continue to evolve over time based on your feedback.
Yep, exactly. Like we want to be more transparent. We want to change the way that we engage with the community to be more transparent, more collaborative, and provide more opportunities for player input and feedback so that we can incorporate that into our plans. So, recent surveys, posts asking for feedback and suggestions, showing the roadmap like we are today. With the farther outlook, like those are just steps in that direction.
Right. So as we head into 2026 seasons and ESO's next era, all of you will play a critical role in the game's future development. So please do continue to let us know what you'd like to see and hear from us on our official social media channels, forums, Reddit, Discord servers, and the feedback surveys we send out.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we just want to make the game that the community wants to be in and enjoy.
Yes.
It is a game. It should be fun.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Now let's take a closer look at what's in season 0 specifically. We're going to start things off here with two things that Susan actually touched on earlier, Tamriel Tomes and the Gold Coast Bazaar. These are two brand new features launching with season 0 that are going to allow you to earn all sorts of in-game rewards. And we will also talk about how ESO Plus evolves in this new seasonal world. Afterwards, we're going to get into the night market and a whole slew of quality of life improvements that you are definitely going to want to hear. But first, Susan, why don't you talk to us about Tamriel Tomes?
Sure. So Tamriel Tomes is our take on a battle pass for ESO. And Each season is going to have a unique Tamriel tome that is available for the duration of the fall season. Everyone will have access to the free version of the season's tome, and you'll progress the tome by completing weekly and seasonal challenges and earning tome points. You earn points, you unlock pages in the tome, and then you can use those points to choose your rewards. When the team set out to design Tamriel tomes, we wanted to make sure that it met a few really important goals for us. First, we wanted everyone to be able to participate in it. No matter what your interests are or how you play ESO, challenges will cover everything from quests to trials to PvP, crafting, dungeons, and you'll have the option to re-roll the weekly challenges during the season if you aren't interested in the current options that you've got on deck for that week.
Nice.
Yeah. So players will be able to re-roll on their own. Like they don't have to wait for a maintenance or wait for us to do it. They can just say, I don't like these weekly challenges and just push a button.
Yeah, exactly. Second, it was really important to us that this had compelling rewards. The team designed the free tome to include exciting rewards all season long. So in season 0, for example, you'll be able to earn new cosmetics. There's a brand new armor. There are 10, I think, weapon styles. There's a new skill style for vigor. And additionally, you're going to be able to earn 8,000 seals of endeavor, 6 crates, furnishings, trade bars, which we'll talk about in a minute, and even more stuff over the course of the season. And yes, I did just say you can earn seals of endeavor as part of Tamriel tomes. And that's part of the big drive to cut down on complexity and confusion. We wanted to move away from having multiple types of challenge lists to complete every single day. I don't know about you, I have enough to-do lists.
Yes.
In my life on a normal basis. I need things a little bit simpler when I go home and I want to relax and play the game. So we are going to go ahead and eliminate the daily login rewards and the Endeavors challenge systems, but we're moving all of that into Tamriel tomes. So you will earn Endeavor seals as part of the tome system now. And the things that you used to encounter in the daily login rewards, those would be the sorts of things that are available for you to select from within the tomes.
So just streamlined. Lots of rewards, still streamlined.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one other thing, just building on that, is that the challenges are weekly and seasonal, as opposed to Endeavors, which we had the dailies and the weeklies. And it's like, it does feel like, oh no, I have to do this today. I have to do this today. So we're hoping that the weekly nature of this is going to allow more flexibility for players.
Yeah, and just kind of release some of that pressure
Yeah.
of needing to
Yes.
log in every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
You
was
don't wanna miss.
kind of bummed out if I knew I wasn't going to complete. I would
Like your
do-
daily login if you're away for a few days or something. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I guess I'm not
Or
going to
I'd
get
log
this.
in and I'd do one of the Endeavors challenges and I'd be like, oh, cool, I did that. And then I'd look at the other ones and I'd be like, well, I'm not actually
If you're a completionist, that
do
feels
all
bad,
of
right?
those. So yeah. So anyway, hopefully this is more engaging, an engaging way to do all of this. We're excited about it. So the last thing to note with the Tamriel tomes is that there are 2 paid premium upgrade options that are going to be available for Tamriel tomes. And depending on what those upgrades are, they're going to unlock additional tiers of reward choices. There'll be bonus items, there'll be additional cosmetics, there's a personality, amount, outfit styles, and more stuff that we'll have in there. So with both of the premium options, you will also get the ability to keep unlocking pages and rewards in a season's tome, even after the season ends.
Nice.
So you can actually complete it on your own schedule in your own timeline.
Also, one thing I do want to quickly note is that we are not taking away any rewards for completing things in game, like the dungeon hard modes or doing quests or what have you. This is just going to be another way for everyone to earn different types of rewards by doing various activities. All right, so this seems like a good time to talk about the Gold Coast Bazaar, which was the other thing that you had mentioned. This is the new in-game storefront that will allow you to unlock in-game rewards just by playing through the game. And it will also be a way to acquire older items, which is, again, something that we've seen from the community that they've been wanting for a pretty long time.
Yep. I mean, yeah. So Tamriel Tomes is going to offer a lot of unique rewards, like both the free and the paid tracks, but we didn't want to stop there. So yeah, we're launching the Gold Coast Bazaar alongside our first season, and it's a store dedicated to earnable rewards for players. So just like you said, over the years, we've introduced so many limited time cosmetics through Golden Pursuits, daily login rewards, Twitch streams, the anniversary spotlights, events, and so on. And if you missed them, it was either impossible to get them again, or we would reintroduce them like unpredictably or inconsistently. The Bazaar provides a consistent and reliable place for players to finally be able to claim these rewards. We'll also have some utility items and some brand new items that have never been seen before in the Bazaar, and we're going to continue to add to the Bazaar over time. In fact, in the future, we're planning to make some previous crates and their contents earnable in the Bazaar. That's something else that players have asked for.
Yep.
That's not going to be present in season 0, but it'll likely be in the next season or the season after that. Let's see, items are going to rotate in and out, but we're trying to avoid frustrating FOMO. Most items will be up for long durations, like the entirety of a season or longer, and we're hoping to bring things back quickly. You may have noticed that I keep saying earnable. So to redeem items from the Bazaar, players will need trade bars. And trade bars are primarily earned in Tamriel tomes and also elsewhere in the game.
We've tried playing the game.
Yes, exactly. We've tried to balance this carefully with the majority of trade bars in the free track of the tomes. We're planning to include a small amount in the paid version as a bonus reward for players who support the game, with the remaining earned through other in-game activities. Now, some of the things we're talking about are things that you previously earned from events. Well, we're getting rid of event tickets with seasons. So players who have event tickets will receive an appropriate amount of trade bars for the number of event tickets that they have. But unlike event tickets, there's going to be no cap for how many trade bars players can have. And critically, trade bars cannot be purchased for crowns. They must be earned by playing the game. So the Bazaar, it's designed to give players more options and choice over the rewards that you earn, right? There will be around 100 items in the Gold Coast Bazaar in the first season, with more coming each season.
That's great. So this calls back to players asking for more ways to earn rewards just by playing the game.
Yes, exactly.
Nick, is the change with event tickets, is that coming with season 0?
Yes, that is coming with season 0.
Fantastic. That's great. Okay, so we've talked a bit about Tamriel tomes and the Gold Coast Bazaar at this point. So ESO Plus also was a part of the holistic design when we were thinking about how to give players more choice and how they earn rewards in-game and more ways to earn through gameplay specifically. So Susan, can you tell us a little bit about how Tamriel tomes and the Gold Coast Bazaar interface with ESO Plus and what this means for those players?
Sure. So for starters, first, most important, we aren't changing the price of ESO Plus, and we're not taking anything away from it. ESO Plus members are going to continue to have access to all of the past chapters and DLCs, but they're also going to get new benefits layered on top of the membership that already exists, starting with season 0. So first, Plus subscribers will get a monthly grant of tome points to spend on any of the tome rewards, and they're also actually going to earn tome points at an accelerated rate.
Nice.
And then beginning with this month, any ESO Plus subscribers will receive credit every month towards a free Premium Plus season upgrade. Now, once you've accumulated 12 months of being subscribed, and that's total months, you will be awarded a Premium Plus season upgrade that you can spend on any season.
Now, we do have some new improvements coming for everyone, and ESO Plus subscribers will have some extra benefits for a few of the things that Susan will talk about in just a second. Let's actually get into those game improvements now, because there is a lot of stuff in here that addresses some long-standing requests and pain points, and I'm personally really excited about this stuff.
I'm very excited to share all this stuff.
It's a lot.
Okay, so let's dig into the list. With season 0, we're going to start to see updates from a new team that has been devoted to finding and focusing on the community's most requested quality of life features and other improvements. So they have been gathering these from community wish lists, from surveys, from summits, from lurking on forums, and seeing what you all are talking about. They are looking at last year's requests that we put out, for example, for top pain points, and using all of that to build a backlog of work that they can devote their time to. So we're going to keep doing more of that in the future as we continue to build out this group's schedule of work as well. So update 49 will include the first wave of all of these changes, specifically focused on reducing friction and respecting player playtime. To start with, we're going to add the ability to respec skills and attributes directly from the UI at no cost.
Nice.
We kind of thought of this as we talk all about being experimental. Hey, why don't you guys get experimental as well?
Let players do that too.
Yeah. Yep. So we're going to go back to the 30-day listing window for guild traders. We didn't really see a lot of effect from the change that we rolled in previously, and nobody really liked it. So we're going to go ahead and roll that back out and take it back to 30 days.
Great.
We are making outfit slots account-wide. We're adding faster writer training. We're going to allow for 3 stat increases instead of 1 at a time. And speaking of writing, we are adding a brand new mount available for gold. And we're going to move 16 mounts out of the Crown Store and put those up for gold purchase as well.
Okay.
So we are also increasing the furnishing limits on over half of our houses as part of a plan to boost furnishing limits across all of our houses. For example, the cap on large homes is going to increase from 328 to 415.
Nice.
Yes.
There's going to be so much more room for activities. Susan, that's actually a very frequent question we get from the community is increasing furnishing limits so they can add more to their house. And previously we had looked at it and there were some technical limitations, but what has changed now where we were able to do this?
So this technical limitations do still exist for some of our houses. One of the things that we looked at, in that spirit, going back to, as I said earlier, that spirit of, okay, but what if? What we looked at here was, we said, all right, well, let's try and solve this problem. We can't solve it for every single house across the board right now. There are still technical limitations related to the largest of our houses, but that doesn't mean we can't update some of the others as we go. So that's kind of how we're looking at it. Let's not hold the whole thing if we can make a large chunk of it better while we continue to solve the problem behind the scenes for the rest.
That's great.
We are also going to go ahead and add longer antiquities exploration times, and we're increasing the duration across all difficulties. And for those last 2 in particular, ESO Plus subscribers will get an additional boost above and beyond what the standard value is. So all in all, we're still a few months away from the update. There might be a few more things. In fact, there are probably some more things that Nick knows about that I don't actually know about yet that are going to make it into that. So we'll talk about those over the next couple of months as we lead up to the updates. And then the last thing is, with this group, which I'm excited about, they've got longer term stuff going on in the background as well. So these are things that won't be in the next update, but the team is busy working on some bigger, longer initiatives, like allowing guilds to send mail to their guild members, crossplay, and guild housing, and more.
That's exciting.
I love how you just kind of casually drop something like guild mail and then move on from it.
Do you know we have so much stuff to talk about today? Like if we weren't casual about some of them, we'd never stop talking to each other.
I suspect viewers wouldn't mind if this went for 5 or 6 hours and we just talk about everything. All right, so let's now shift over to the night market. Nick, why don't you first cover what exactly an event zone is?
Yeah. So an event zone is it's the first type of new experimental content, and the night market is our first one of these. And the core idea behind the event zone is it's simple. It's limited time, highly focused, and it's designed for us to try new concepts, mechanics, and importantly, new difficulty levels. So it gives the team the space to be creative and gather feedback. The night market, it's a PvE zone. It's set in Fargrave, and it's filled with challenging encounters. We wanted to experiment with a zone designed to be genuinely difficult. So this zone is specifically geared toward experienced players and groups, but it's designed to be accessible by anyone. It's a fantastic place to try group content for the first time. You don't need a guild to have fun here, but we're hoping that it's a fun place for guilds to take on.
Yeah.
And we believe that the zone's difficulty will naturally encourage players to work together. To be clear, like this is, we talked about overland difficulty earlier. This is not overland difficulty. We are also doing overland difficulty later in 2026, but this zone is going to be, more difficult. The night market's going to feature 3 factions, and you can choose one to align with each time the zone becomes available, and there will be a competition between the factions to see who can make the most progress in the night market. Like any zone, the night market is going to have its own unique rewards, and the most notable is a brand new house that players will unlock and upgrade by progressing through the zone. I think the house is pretty cool and unique, and it's going to be the first time there's a bank that's actually included inside the
How
home.
cool.
Yeah.
So we're planning to release also a brand new functional reward type with the event zone that we think is going to affect gameplay in an exciting way. The night market begins on April 29th and will run through mid-June, but this isn't a one and done event. We're planning to bring it back at least once in 2026. And if players enjoy it, we can bring it back more often in the future or potentially make it permanent. We're introducing this content to gather feedback and data on what works, and we'll take those learnings and apply them potentially to this event zone, to the next event zone, or even future seasonal content to ensure that we're always improving the experience.
All right, so in addition to the event zone, we also have the first wave of updates for the class and combat work we talked about in December, going live with Season 0. So, Nick, would you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. Like we've been talking about throughout this, the health of the base game and reinvesting in existing parts of the game is really important, right? The improvements that Susan just talked about are one step in that direction. And another one is that we're planning to invest heavily. We are investing heavily in foundational experience of ESO. So as part of that, we're reviewing and improving the combat experience. This is ongoing. It's going to be released in parts over the course of the next few years. So this isn't just a single update. The responses from the class survey we shared last September and the combat and vision roadmap we released in December, those were crucial in helping us to prioritize and shape the team's work on this. What's going to be included as part of this? First is a visual refresh for all of our classes and combat skill lines, and also mechanical updates to reduce floatiness and deliver a more modern feel. Now, ESO was made over 10 years ago, right? Close to 12 years at this point, and we've learned a lot since then. And newer classers have benefited from that. We want all classes to benefit from what we've learned, while still feeling unique and staying true to their core. Critically, we remain dedicated to the play your way core combat pillar. However, we recognize that with the introduction of subclassing, that's created issues at odds with that goal, specifically impacting class identity, pure classes, build viability, and flexibility. We're working on addressing these issues with these efforts. We want class identity to be clearer. We want pure classes to be competitive, and we want as many builds as possible to be viable across all content. So the first major wave of this work is arriving in March, and the March update will feature the Dragon Knight class. And that will include a visual refresh for many of its abilities. It's really cool to see how these are shaping up, and I really can't wait for players to get to experience them. We're also making adjustments to the skill lines to make them feel like a more complete kit, to make pure classes more viable. As a bonus, you can also earn a full set of blue skill styles for Dragon Knight abilities in-game in Season 0. We're also, as part of the March update, including a visual refresh for the two-handed weapon skill line. And we're going to keep working on those weapon skill lines as a part of this. We're also going to be revamping werewolf visuals. That will likely come in June. And that'll include the werewolf model. And as part of that, we're actually going to be including a female werewolf model that's going to be free. And that's something the players have been requesting for years.
Oh, yes.
And so we're just going to keep going with this, multiple times a year. And again, feedback is an important part of this. We want to hear from players. Is this the right direction? What should we be doing differently? And that's part of this. To be clear, this doesn't mean that we won't make other changes to classes along the way. We do want to address outstanding issues throughout development, not just focus on one class at a time at the expense of all else. However, our primary focus will be on addressing each class holistically, revamping them both visually and mechanically, again, to modernize them and tackle major player concerns like class identity, build viability, and flexibility. It's a different way we could go about it is to try to hit many classes all at once, again, and again, but taking a step back and looking at the classes, looking where we want the classes to be, again, based on feedback from players, we thought was really important to be able to do this as well as possible.
I think it's also important for us to touch on PvP and some things that we're doing for the PvP community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I mentioned earlier when we were going over the roadmap, we are making some pretty big investments in PvP this year. So first, we'll continue our PvP vengeance work after the March update, and we'll share learnings and a new plan shortly after that. We're going to be launching a new PvP progression system that's going to include dedicated PvP rewards, including unique cosmetics that we're planning to update regularly, and that's likely coming in June. The team's also bringing back three-sided battlegrounds. That's, again, something that players have been asking for. Probably starting with a three-sided battleground weekends to see what players think. If it's received positively, we'll make it available more often or potentially make it a permanent mode.
Cool.
We'll be addressing pain points and quality of life improvements with PvP. Just a few examples. We're planning to add ways to get around Cyrodiil faster. We're going to be fixing the Alessia, Ashe, and Shaman keeps to stop the issue of players slingshotting into the inner keeps, which players have understandably expressed frustration about. We're fixing a couple of battleground maps like Reeman's Folly and Huntsman's Fortress to address spawn camping issues. And those are just a few examples. There will be more things like this over the course of the next year. And just like everything we've talked about today, all of this will be available to all players who own ESO, like no new chapter or DLC required. This focus on base game health, transparency, and listening to your feedback, it's not just a temporary goal. It's the foundation of our new model and the key to ESO's future. I've said this before, but ESO is nothing. It's nothing without you, the players. And we truly believe that by building this game with you, that we can make the next decade of Elder Scrolls Online the best one yet.
All right. Well, we covered a lot in this show. And while we'll have web articles going up with more details shortly, we did just want to quickly summarize everything we just went through. So first, seasons are coming to ESO. This is going to introduce a host of new and varied and sometimes even experimental content that will be free for all ESO players. Each season will also introduce a Tamriel tome. This is going to give you new ways to unlock in-game rewards with both paid and free options. And we're adding the Gold Coast Bazaar for even more items. Season 0 is going to kick off all of those quality of life features that we covered, in addition to the visual refresh and mechanic updates for the classes and the combat skill lines. As a reminder, the next game update will roll out March 9th on all platforms simultaneously. And moving forward, all updates and patches are also going to occur on the same day, which is really exciting for console players. Season 0 is officially going to kick off on April 2nd, along with the first Tamriel tome. And that's going to be followed by the night market launching on April 29th. And remember, if you want to get a first look at Season 0 and a lot of the things we covered today, it will be available on the test server next week.
So your feedback on our future plans, as we've said a few times throughout today's stream, whether it's about Season 0, Update 49, or anything else from the roadmap, is very important to us. And we're eager to hear what you think about the future of our game. So watch for a survey link in chat following today's stream. If you miss it, don't worry, we'll share it a few different places too. Speaking of, let's return to this year's roadmap. As you might have noticed, there's a lot of fun stuff listed there for this year's seasons. We can't wait to share more details with all of you during our Seasons Direct this spring. For more on Season 0 specifically, we'll also have more live streams and previews between now and the season launch, including one next week, I think, right?
We will be talking with the team who is doing a lot of those quality of life features, so we can just get into more detail about a lot of those things.
So stay tuned for details on our website and social channels soon.
We want to give a huge thank you to our special guests, Nick and Susan, for joining us in this very important live stream today. Do either of you have any final words for the ESO community?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you to hosting us on this live stream. Thanks, Nick, for hanging out here on the couch and talking about all this stuff with all of us. And a big thank you to all of you. We're so excited to share this with you. Thank you for being a part of Tamriel for this last decade and more.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for playing and for supporting this game that we love. And welcome to the next decade of Elder Scrolls Online.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, ESO is changing, but we are really excited to start this journey of seasons and work together with all of you a lot more. Thanks for tuning in today.